Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Logan and today we're going to be looking at the Erika's Lenormand of Hope deck. This is a deck by author Erika Robinson, the author of The Language of Lenormand, which if you are new to Lenormand, I totally recommend checking out. It is a fantastic introduction to Lenormand. It has a lot of great info and nuance to it, and Erika Robinson herself, I believe, was a teacher for over 30 years, and so you can really see her love of teaching shine through in those pages. Fantastic resource, please check that out. And this deck has beautiful artwork by artist Erika Peebus, which just, when you see this artwork, which we're about to get to, oh man, it is just stunning. So the deck comes in this little tin. I'm more of a box girl myself, I'm going to be honest, but it is a really nice tin, and I love the embossing on the front. I don't know if you can see that, like certain petals and flowery bits stand out, and I think that's a really cool touch to add dimension and interest without making it gaudy. So props there. It also comes with a little white book, and it does have quite a bit of information in it. I haven't really looked at it yet because I've already read Erika's Language of Lenormand, and I'm going to assume the information can be somewhat similar, but it's still nice. It's quite nice. So we have that, and then yes, there is one additional card that Erika Robinson created to add to the deck called the Scales, so we'll get to that in just a bit. But yeah, let's look at the cards themselves. That's what we're here for, isn't it? So here we have the deck. It's, I would say, I think it's a little bit larger than a playing card deck. I think it's a little bit wider, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but it feels a little wider than a standard playing card deck. Here are the sides, which the quality of the gilding does seem really nice. So I have pretty good hopes about this gilding holding up. I know a lot of us have bad luck when it comes to foil gilding, chipping, or just being like tacky and abrasive to the hand. Beautiful card backs. I'm not quite sure the significance of the little cross design, but it reminds me of the little paper, they're not birds, what are they? Paper, are they prayers, curses? I can't remember, from Spirited Away. It very much gives me that. I feel like there's a word for those, and it's just totally skimming over the top of my brain and not settling. And the finish is, I'd say, like a satin. It's like a semi-gloss, somewhere between a gloss and a matte. The cards move very easily and smoothly together, and even though it does have a bit of sheen to it, it's not glaring or distracting like you get with actual glossy cardstock, so it's still a good time. So the first card, we have Rider. I really, really enjoy this figure. Just the composition is fun. I love the dark sky in the background. I love the tone of the grass at the bottom. I think all of these like reds and oranges and golds work really beautifully. It works really well against the darkness of the horse. I like that the banner on this pole here is blank, because I feel like having anything on it would kind of, I don't know, inform the message that we could be getting from this rider, from this messenger. So I'm glad to see that it is blank. We can just fill that banner in with whatever we want mentally. And they're extending a branch. So like we have like an element of invitation possibly here. So I like that. Also think their skin tone is really beautiful, and I love their lush black beard. It's very great. We have Clover. I also appreciate that not every card has the same style of like, here's the subject in the middle of the card. Like some of them, it's overgrown, like this Clover card, which I think is fantastic. I haven't counted yet to see, oh wait, yep, there's a 4-leaf one right there. I was about to say, I haven't counted to see if we actually have a 4-leaf clover in here, but I think that's really, really cool too. And I love that we have the flower heads instead of just the leaves. Here we have the ship, just very simple, very lovely. I enjoy that this one feels like it's almost coming back to us rather than departing, so I think that's nice. Here we have House. The color palette for this entire deck really just fucks me up in the right way. I think it's lovely. I love that we have so many like super saturated deep blues, and the way that that contrasts off of the gold from the light coming from inside of the house, and then with the bits of green here and in the bushes. It's just fabulous. Also love the tiny detail that there's light from the house reflecting off of the inside of these columns on the porch. Like, the art is just fucking crazy. Crazy good. So yeah, love this. This one, this just gives me like, I don't know, medieval tapestry vibes, again, in the best way. I think it's gorgeous. I love that the foliage is sort of like blocked out instead of, you know, being extra, like being able to see background through the leaves and things like that. It feels like there's a block of dark color that we then painted leaves on top of. And I don't know, it just has a very color blocking effect almost. I'm sure there's a word for what I'm trying to so gracelessly articulate over here. Clouds. The one thing I will say is if you are someone who enjoys having the playing card insets on your deck, this one does not have those. I'm a little bit, I don't use them, so like, I'm fine. But I'm a little bit like, that seems like a missed opportunity considering that we have the 6 here, but then we also have the number 6 up here. And I'm just like, I don't think we need the card number in 2 places. Unless maybe some of them have like, I don't know, paleness and like it'd be difficult to see the white number in that spot maybe. I don't know, but I personally would have had a card number in one corner and then the playing card association in the other, but that's just me. It's a stunning deck. I think this is one of the most beautiful Lenormand decks that has been created in quite some time. And I'm just happy to have it. But yeah, if you're into using the playing card insets, this might be something to consider. Here we have the snake card. I wish I would have remembered to peep the guidebook to see what kind of snake this is supposed to be. I think we have mugwort right here growing alongside it, which I believe ties into the feminine aspects of the card. However, that's generally not how I look at the card. So for me, it's just pretty beautiful artwork. But still, this striking like rusty red color in the background, the silver green of the leaves, it's just exquisite. And I love Erika Peebus's art style. We have Coffin, the wood grain on this, like so beautiful, out of a photograph. Love that we have the calla lilies on the side. It feels so funereal and like you really have an element of mourning at play instead of just having the coffin by having those funeral flowers involved too. It feels peaceful and sad. Here we have Bouquet, which you might remember from the lid of the tin box. I love this. It's just giving me all of those old, gorgeous still life paintings of bouquets from, you know, decades past or centuries past or whatever. I think it's stunning. I love the flowers that were chosen. I love that some of them, well, no, all of them I feel like are pretty desaturated because we have the bleeding hearts. We have, I think, a tulip here, maybe a carnation. This is ringing a bell, but I can't put a name to it. And then we have an iris. These are all stunning. I'm a huge fan of bleeding hearts and irises. If you have my Lilac Lenormand, you know I love bleeding hearts because my heart card is a bleeding heart in that deck. So yeah, but they're generally very, very vibrant flowers in either bright pink, you know, bright red, or sometimes they're white. I've seen black ones, but I don't know if those are legit. So putting that out there. For some reason, I lost the plot. I can't remember what I was saying, but just gorgeous. I love how muted most of these colors are with their fleshy tones, but then we have these pops of red and also the purple that comes from the iris, and then contrasting with the almost blue-black of the background and the green of the leaves. It's just exquisite. We have Scythe. Gorgeous again, beautiful detailing on the wood grain. I love this shine to the metal. Whip, beautiful. Again, we have that russet background, or maybe being like a rust background. I think russet is more of a brown, right? With the roses, it's definitely giving those vibes of passion. The braiding on the whip is just immaculately detailed, as are the little tiny ridges on the leaves of the rose. And the roses still have their thorns, so it's like, yes, the passion of the rose, but also, oh, it hurts to grasp it, which I think really works for the whip card. Birds. I'm obsessed with this card. I mean, I always thought it was pretty from like seeing it on the Kickstarter campaign and on, you know, Erika's social media accounts whenever, you know, the paintings and cards were being posted. But in person, this This, again, this fucks me up in the best way. I think it's just, the colors are stunning, all of these shades of blue. I love that we have these almost like folk style, I guess birds in general, but also flowers painted onto them. And then the formation of the birds, it just looks like there's some sort of dance unfolding on the card, and I can just hear the chirping in my head. This is really cute and sweet. I know these little white flowers, but I can't think of their names. I think having the silhouette for it is really cute and a really clever way to keep it genderless. And also, this is just for me, but also by obstructing the child's like detailed features and just making them a silhouette, that for me helps me pull focus from this is a tiny human and more into like the idea of things growing, newness, things that you can apply outside of actual literal children, which I also appreciate this flower growing for, you know. I feel like it really emphasizes the growth aspect of the card, or the newness, the maturing seed, whatever you want to call it. I told you I was rambly this morning. Here we have the fox. I love this fox card. This is one of the cards that made me know that I had to get this deck. It is just stupidly pretty and whimsical. All these floating mushrooms and a floating fox just like chilling in the night sky. What the fuck is even going on? And again, respectfully, in the best way, what the fuck is going on? I love this card. It is so whimsical. So, I love the variety of mushrooms that we get. The expression on the fox's face. And, you know, it's it doesn't feel overly sneaky. It just feels kind of imaginative. And I think for me, that's one of the essences of the fox card, is it is a cunning card. It should represent, again, for me, thinking outside of the box and making your own magic in some ways. So I just think this really works. Bear, again, lovely. Bears are not some of my favorite cards in Lenormand decks. I don't know, sometimes they feel a little bit uninspired. That's just me, but I think this is very lovely. I love the cool tones of the flora, various plants, the trees, and how it contrasts with the warm tones of the bear's fur. Then we have Star, which is very straightforward. We just have a scene of a night sky. It is very beautiful, and I think it gets the job done. Here we have Stork. Love, again, the illustration style, love the color choices. Yeah. This is another card that I generally am not that fond of in decks because, I don't know, when some of the creatures are so huge, like storks are very tall, bears are very tall, towers have very definite shapes to them, I feel like it can be more challenging to work them into the card artwork in like a pleasing composition sort of way. But I feel like Erika really fucking knocked it out of the park with these cards. Here we have Dog, very cute, very simple, like their little bandana. Tower, I like that this tower is kind of forgotten and on its own because I like the solitary aspect of the tower card. You know, I like that stepping back from the trees to view the forest type of vibe. And I think if this tower were surrounded by other buildings, we would not be getting that same effect. So it being somewhere where it's possibly no longer in use because the plane has flooded, I just think that fucking works. Garden, I was very happy to see that we have like a farming vibe, maybe a community farm vibe going on in this card. I went with a agricultural slant in my Lilac Lenormand deck for the garden card, so I was happy to see that sort of angle here. Mountain, very straightforward, very beautiful. This is one, and there's only one or two cards where I'd be like, I'm being a picky asshole, but I would change this one thing slightly. I wish that we did have some other pop of color in here, maybe just the slightest bit of like rust or orange or something slightly yellow to contrast with all of the blue, but that's, you know, neither here nor there. It's not my fucking deck, so who cares what I think, right? Crossroads, I think this is lovely. See, because we do have a lot of these very cool tones, but then we have little tiny hints of yellow in the wildflowers, which I think does a nice job of adding a little bit of contrast. Mice, see our contrast here is between the rusty flowers and the blue-gray of the mice. Also just a really pretty card. I'm not sure what kind of flower that is. Let's look and see if it says in the guide. I know it doesn't mention the plants and shit like that for every single card. Like it talks about the one in Snake. So let's just have a quick glance here. Okay, yeah, so it does mention, it says, this is the card for anxiety, stress, nervousness. So the Lenormand of Hope mice are surrounded by hellebore flowers, which symbolize anxiety. Okay, cool. I did not know that. So thank you very much, Erika Robinson, for putting that in the little white book. I really appreciate details like that are like specific to card art, you know? That's really great. What a beautiful heart card. I don't know, are these sweet peas that are growing? I'm not going to stop again to look at the in the PDF, not the PDF, the little white book, but I'm wondering if it's sweet peas. Just a lovely card. I like the contrast between the paleness of the flowers and then how deep and dark the heart is. And then again, we have that midnight blue background. I also enjoy that the backgrounds for the images, like those tones, are repeating throughout the deck. So it feels very cohesive in like a not monochromatic kind of way. Ring, love the shine on this. I think it's very rich. I love that we get the cool shadows around the edges as well, so it's not just like a family of yellow tones going on. Lovely. Book. The way that like the rust color of this with this like beige book and the yellow tulip takes me back to like, I don't know, decades past for color palettes. Love. And then again, great contrast with the blue-green of the leaves and then the blue purpley color on the, like, it's like an indigo maybe, on the inside of the spine of the book there. Very tiny pops of color, but I feel like they're very effective. Letter, this is just lovely. Little forget-me-nots, I don't know what that is. I'm guessing that's a daisy. Beautiful. Okay, then we come to the significator cards, which are one of many highlights in this deck. So here we have the card for man, and we have a more mature man here, so you can have your pick. I think both of these are stunning. I love the orchids in the background. Like, these plants are really lovely, but for me, it's just the elephant ears with the red backs to them, and then the orchids, it's just, it's so rich, so rich. Woman, this one makes me feel things. It's just so beautiful. I don't know if these are Japanese magnolias or what the flowers are exactly on the tree here, but stunning, absolutely stunning. She herself is also just beautiful beyond words. Love the hair, love the eyebrows, eye shape, just everything fabulous. And the more mature woman option, who is just also stunning. Just what a force that these significator cards are. I'm curious if this is another type of orchid. At first I thought it was an iris because of the colors, but then looking at them, like, that doesn't look like an iris. So I'm very curious. I'm gonna look that up too. Here we have a lily. Very simple, very straightforward. Again, really nice contrast with the pale pastel pinks against a very midnight background. Here we have sun. Now, I don't know if I've talked about this before. I am usually not one for faces on celestial bodies unless they're done certain ways. Like, I think Eric Maley has done a really great job with like putting faces on the sun and moon type of thing in his decks. Love that style. And then I think the sun and moon in this deck are also very lovely. I love these little Pikachu moments on the cheeks here. The moon, very stunning, just lovely. And I love that we have datura or moonflowers of some sort underneath it. Beautiful. Key takes me back to the style of the ring card. So again, I feel like we have a strong through line card to card. It's just such a cohesive body of work. Fish. Okay, this is the only other one besides Mountain where I'm just like, it's not fantastical enough for me. Like, it's just so shitty to say. It's such a beautiful deck, and it's a beautifully done card. But just for me, this just feels a little bit too literally pulled from like National Geographic, color palette wise. Like, I would have liked something else going on in the kelp or whatever in the background, or a different type of color besides this dark electric blue in the background. But that is a very subjective, I mean, this is all subjective, but it's beautifully done. It's just, I prefer my card art to be less National Geographic and a little bit more like, I don't know, not that. Which is the only reason I haven't sprung for that Animal and Botanical Tarot, I want to say it's called. Gorgeous artwork. Stunning. Oh my goodness. But a lot of those depictions, if not all of them to me, feel very like just literal photographs of nature, which is its own very valid art style, I guess, you know. It just doesn't necessarily appeal to me as much as the other cards in the deck do in this one. Here we have Anchor. Really lovely. Again, great contrast, bringing in the warm tones, bringing in some yellow tones through the green of the kelp there. Yeah, I'm not mad at it. Cross, which, you know, you girl does not like a cross card, but if I have to have a cross card, this is a stunning cross card. The wood grain, beautiful. The flowers, pop. That dark rusty color in the background, again, gorgeous. Love how the cool green contrasts everything. It's just so masterfully done. And yeah, like I said, if I have to have a cross card, it better be pretty. And this is stunning. This and the cross card from the Nocturnal Garden Lenormand by Faina Laura, I think are the prettiest cross cards I have ever seen. And then we have the Scales card. And let's take a gander at what Miss Erika has to say about this addition to the Lenormand deck. So Scales, balance, justice, fairness, and then cost versus benefit. I'll try to read this, and if it's taking too long, I'll edit it out because I don't want us all to be sitting here for a year. Okay, so it says, I have found Lenormand's traditional 36 cards to be a satisfyingly complete system, which, same. It is, however, a modern practice for deck creators to add extra cards to put their own spin on things, and I've decided to take that leap, albeit with a single card. In the Lenormand of Hope, the scale is the card of cost versus benefit analysis. It portrays a scale holding a stack of coins on one side and a pair of daisies on the other. The scale here is evenly balanced, which might seem odd as one side contains heavy metal and the other objects that are essentially weightless. The card asks us to ponder what it is we value and why. It asks that we not mistake things of the spirit for things of the flesh, that we not confuse God and mammon, that we consider why we do the esoteric work, to make a quick buck or to lighten someone's burden. Certainly, this card can be used in an actual reading, but it can also be set at the head of any reading as to keep the reader's channel clear and clean and their intentions pure. I'm not going to read further than that, but I think that is already beautiful as it is. How thoughtful. I'm definitely going to try that now, taking this card out of the deck and setting it up as a reminder of sorts. And then it comes with this last card, which has the QR code that you can scan if you want the booklet in PDF form, which I probably will if I decide to use the booklet, just because the text is really tiny in here. Sounds like there's a lot of good information, though. So yeah, I'm really glad that this was an offering of sorts, that this was included. And then, so you can get the deck in this standard size, which I don't think I have any Lenormand decks that are this size. I'm excited about it. At first I was like, whoa, that's big, but I think it's going to be really nice. And then, I don't know if these are going to be available indefinitely or if this is just like until the Kickstarter leftovers run out, but one of these stretch goals was for a mini version of the deck. And so, you know, your girl, me, is a slut for mini decks, and yeah, I had to grab this. So this is currently available to purchase as well, and I will link all of this in the video description below, but just love. This was actually the version of the deck that I used for that first reading, because I didn't want to get this one out of order and then have to reorder it for this video. But yeah, mini decks, fantastic. It doesn't have like the gilding or anything, but who cares? Who fucking cares? It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous and it's tiny. What more do you want? So it came in this really lovely dark blue little cloth bag, linen bag, jute bag. I can't remember. I am going to probably keep a lookout for a matchbox that would be about this size, because I think that would be adorable. And the way some of these cards take me back to, I don't know, more vintage antique feels, like this book card. Something about keeping this deck with the art style and some of these, what is to me more vintage nods, really makes me love the idea of keeping it in a little old-timey matchbox. So I'm going to be keeping an eye out for that. So this has been the Erika's Lenormand of Hope Lenormand deck in both the standard size and the mini, both of which you can still get at the time I film this, at least through the La Penthière website. I'm unsure how the E is supposed to be pronounced with the diacritic over it like that, so if I'm mispronouncing that, I apologize. But yeah, fantastic deck. Completely recommend. I think I've said all that I have to say. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning. I hope you had a good time looking at this stunning deck, which, by the way, I forgot to mention when we were looking through it, but like this stunning deck that finally, again, this is like 1 out of 3 existing Lenormand decks that, and there's like how many of them, that does not feature a significator, a family of significator cards, a slew of them, that are all fucking white. Which, you know, I know sometimes it's just like, people don't want to hear about that, but whenever something, you have an interest and it never reflects, you can never see yourself in it, it never reflects your own experience, that really fucking sucks. Do I know what that's like for people of color? Absolutely not, because I'm white as shit. But I do know what that's like when it comes to being excluded from decks that, like Lenormand decks that only come with 1 man card and 1 woman card, because it's just like, all right, well, fuck queer people, right? And obviously that's not the intention. People just don't think about it if you don't have that lived experience. But this deck having these gloriously beautiful, unapologetically black, stunning significator cards, it's just like, you better fucking work. These are fucking fierce, beautiful, important. You know, the other week we had Auntie Kay's Brown Witch Lenny, which similarly did such important work as far as giving us some actual diverse options when it comes to Lenormand decks. And so just absolutely bravo to everybody who is making things like this happen, who is adding skin tone diversity, age diversity. That's another thing. How often do you see in a Lenormand deck, or any divination deck for that matter, people on cards that are not strictly in their 20s, you know, but we're opening that up to other age ranges. I think that is also so important because ageism is rampant everywhere. And contrary to popular fuckery, aging should not make you invisible. You are still valid as you mature, as you grow more beautiful and more wise. So yeah, it's just doing a lot of really, really great shit that we don't see in a lot of Lenormand decks, and I'm fucking excited about that, and I hope you're excited about that too. So I will put all the links below if you want to check this deck out. I'll also put a link for Erika Robinson's fantastic Language of Lenormand educational book below. And yeah, thank you for hanging out with me this morning, for suffering my rambles. I know they have been extra all over the place today. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and until next time, bye-bye.